have side katagatame now, so they often call this the rotolo team. It's just a side katagatame. I call it yoko katagatame. It's on that side.
And that's it. She got
it. Joslyn Molina is one of the brightest young stars in women's jiu-jitsu, and she will make history at the ADCC East Coast Trials when she becomes the youngest to ever compete in any of the brackets at only 13 years old. The craziest part about all this, she genuinely could win. This is a special athlete who's coming up at a time where more and more young athletes are doing really, really well in jiu-jitsu, and I think she's one of the people absolutely leading this charge. Today I want to break down her WNO debut, which happened earlier this year in Miami. She was able to score the submission win, and I want to talk about how she was able to do that. Let's get into the match. So we start here with Joslyn in mount. She's going to set up the arm triangle by ducking her head around the corner. She moves from a back take into an arm triangle. And what's really interesting about her choice here is she's deciding to stay in mount. A lot of arm triangles over the years, the teaching has been step off to the side, get your squeeze going from the side. You probably can get a little bit stronger of a squeeze when you go off to the side control with the arm triangle choke. But a lot of top grapplers these days are deciding to stay in mount because it gives them a much better ability to pin their opponent down and follow them if they try to get into any of these crazy rolling escapes or some of these defensive motions that we've seen people become very talented with over the years. It's also going to offer better transitions, which we're going to see in a second. She's putting on this arm triangle choke. Her opponent, Amy, is actually going to do the right thing and start to turn away from the choke, which you're starting to see here. But as she does, you see the hand placement has already totally changed for Joslyn as she starts to lace in what they're calling a rotolo team, right? Here in tacket team, here in rotolo team, slightly different techniques. This, in my opinion, is a rotolo team. And it's very similar to a no-gi Ezekiel. You'll notice that Joslyn's hand up at this other side of the head is starting to block the face, right? What that's going to give her the ability to do is turn this from one kind of choke into another. Rather than just squeezing and pinching on this arm triangle choke, now as she starts to lock this, she's going to be able to pull and rotate. And the second this becomes a rotational choke, something like a darce, for example, this becomes a much more effective choke, much more efficient way to strangle somebody. So let's continue to take a look here. Now you see her start to sit around the angle. Why is she doing this? It gives a lot bigger space for her to be able to pull and rotate. It's all about the rotational force. She's moving around the body about 1/3 of a rotation, which is a great idea. Anytime you're trying to finish a triangle and you're having on one of these arm triangles, moving 1/3 of the way around the body is a great idea. And you see she finishes this up with a laced up, locked arm triangle, body triangle, and gets the submission win. Incredible finish from her there. Classic rotolo team, which is a submission that's really been taking off over the last few years, kind of pioneered by Kate and Ty Rotolo of Atos. Let's take one more look at the submission all the way through. So here we are. Originally, she's thinking about taking the back with one of these chair sit back takes because the arm is so far across the body. But when she starts to duck her head around the corner, now it becomes an arm triangle threat. And it's an immediate submission threat that her opponent has to respect. She decides to stay in mount. Her opponent begins to turn away, and that's going to create the submission opportunity. That's the lock. That's the darce, where it goes from a regular hand-to-hand grip to a figure four grip with one hand blocking at the head. The block at the head means the more that you rotate, the head's not going to turn with it. All that's just going to turn into pressure against the carotid and more choking power. So as soon as the grip is set, it just becomes an issue of how far can she get, in this case, her left elbow up and over and around at this angle. The more she can pull that left elbow through space, the more power she creates. She laces the body triangle, gets the tap, and it's a big celebration. At only 13 years old, Joslyn Molina is already making history when she takes the mats at the ADCC East Coast Trials. If she is able to win, she is going to absolutely rewrite and shatter the records. She may be the next biggest phenom in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. If you want to watch her rise to the top, the next place you're going to have to go is FloGrappling.com. Make sure you subscribe to watch the East Coast Trials, watch the entire ADC season up through and including the 2026 Worlds, which are going to be in Poland. It's going to be an incredible time. Make sure you subscribe to FloGrappling and check out our tens of thousands of matches and tournaments and 10 years of all the biggest Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu moments. Tons of technique, tons of content on there for fans. If there's any other matches or any other athletes you guys want us to be breaking down, make sure you drop them in the comments. Let us know. My name is Joe Gilpin. We'll be back soon. Thank you so much.